This call is now being recorded.
Hey, David, this is Robert McCready. How are you?
I am well, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, just so when people listen to this, they'll know that you're David, the author of Glimpses of Charleston, a book, and also a very popular Facebook page.
That is true.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Avrutick.
Avrutick. All right, that's very cool. So, how long have you been living in Charleston?
Full time, I've been living here for over 26 years.
All right, that's cool. So, what brought you to Charleston?
My wife is from here.
Okay, and where did you live before?
We met living in New York City.
Okay, and then you got down to Charleston, and have you always taken pictures of Charleston?
No. It just sort of developed that I was taking photos with my cell phone, just in the course of my daily movements around the town. And I would put them up on my personal Facebook page. And then one day my daughter said, "Dad, everyone loves your pictures. Why don't you make a page for them?" And about 10 minutes later, Glimpses of Charleston was born, and that was in 2013. And since then, I've just been posting things on Facebook and now also Instagram, and it took on a life of its own. It's got over 100,000 followers now, and a book came out of it, and on it goes. So it's just what I see during my life in Charleston. And I think we had a subtitle somewhere that it's a local's eye view. And every photo, unless it's noted otherwise, is actually from a cell phone.
Are the photos all live? Like, if we're seeing a photo, did you just take it, or do you post it a little bit later?
It could be either. I think when it started, it was all fairly live, and then I discovered you could actually schedule posts. And so sometimes they go in clumps, but if something's happening, like literally 7 minutes ago, a photo went up that I took a half an hour ago of a flooded street in Charleston because it's been raining all morning. And so, or it can be in the moment as well, or it can be a week later. It just sort of varies now.
Okay, well, I've really enjoyed Glimpses of Charleston, and I think one of my favorite things about the page is that you're so interactive with me on it, because almost every single picture you post that doesn't have a location, I say, "Where is this?" And at first, it was just my idea of kind of cozy trolling. Just, I usually use Twitter a lot, and that's a lot of repetition, and you get a lot of reward from repetition on Twitter. And I just try to bring that over to other social medias because the reactions are so different. Although memes from Twitter on Facebook are extremely disruptive. I don't even do that anymore. The people on Twitter can handle it. They can on Facebook. But it's been kind of just fun because it's clearly Glimpses of Charleston. Here's the Charleston house. Oh, where is this? But then you give a really specific location, and I feel like it's very interesting. We've got other people now answering the question when I ask, and It's just really enjoyable and fun for me. So thank you for that.
Well, it's actually evolved. When I started, I was giving very detailed information about the photo, and I actually started almost with a trivia question, or did you know the historical significance of this house or this place or this wall or whatever it was. And it became a very interactive effort between me and the followers on Facebook. And that actually became exhausting. And I took a break at one point. My father had passed away, and so I stopped doing it for a while. And when I came back, I decided the extreme effort to provide all that information was more than I wanted to do at that point. So now, as you've experienced, and I do see you asking the questions, I will just put a photo up with, bare minimum information, if that at times, but I'm happy to answer questions. And as you pointed out, it's actually there's a fairly active group who do enjoy commenting and showing their knowledge as well. And it's built a very nice community, except for the occasional person who comes on and becomes abusive and annoying, and then they find themselves very quickly banned.
What kind of abuse would that kind of a page get?
People either go after someone individually or will make nasty generalization comments either about people in Charleston or people who have moved to Charleston. And if it becomes abusive or something I just don't like, I will either warn them, and if they don't stop, they get banned, or if it's bad enough, I will ban them without any warning, because the whole idea of Glimpses is that it's sharing nice, interesting, pretty, generally, things, and it's a place for people to come and feel good about something as opposed to the nastiness that can appear on the internet. And it's just not tolerated.
Yeah, it is so cozy. And I do appreciate that about the page. And now, commenting on it shows it up in my algorithm so much. And it's so nice because there was a period of time when I spent every single weekend in Charleston. And I really got to know the streets. I got to know Folly Beach. I got to know James Island. I'm actually writing a book about that experience now. It's called Manifesting Folly, and I should be done this fall. But
that's great.
Yeah, so it's nice to see it, and I have memories, seeing the different houses. Some of the houses that you have taken pictures of, I have taken pictures of in 2020 or 2021. So that's kind of a nice thing. Do you like walking on the peninsula better than anywhere else in America?
That's an interesting question. Well, I live here, so I do enjoy it. But I also travel immensely. I recently was in Nepal and trekking in the Himalayas. So that's a very different experience than walking in downtown Charleston. You can get, other experiences, whether you're in the Arizona desert or the mountains up in Glacier National Park. So I can't say it's the best place in America to walk. It's certainly a wonderful urban environment, and it is generally, despite people's complaints about traffic and crowding, it is, if they've ever been anywhere else in a larger city, they might not complain about it. So it is a wonderful place to walk, and particularly I'm below Calhoun now. It just gets nicer and nicer.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Calhoun, once you kind of realize that that's the street that gets you places, you can kind of locate it and be like, okay, I can go this way and go to James Island. I can go this way and get, to East Bay. It's kind of, in Marion Square is right there. It's kind of central to the peninsula experience. Do you go for when you walk, is that your main physical activity for exercise?
No, I've been a runner my whole life. And so generally actually what I do now, even though I will go for walks, is when I'm out for a run, if I notice something, I say, I need to come back there and take a picture. Or if I'm just driving around or walking around, if I see something that looks photo worthy, I'll do it. But especially in the summer, walking is not a particularly pleasurable experience here.
No, very humid.
Yeah.
So when you run, are you going for a certain number of steps, or are you going for a certain amount of time?
It's certainly not number of steps. I was a competitive runner for a long time, so now it's just about fitness and how I feel and, it varies depending on what I'm doing. I'm not particularly looking to accomplish anything other than enjoy the run and to be fit.
Okay, I used to be a jogger, and I guess you could call it a runner. They try to get you. I just wanted to jog, but then all of my jogging friends said, "No, we're runners," and I've done 10Ks. I did the Cooper River Bridge run. I've done that a couple of times. One time, a group of friends and I made a Chinese dragon of Bill Murray and did the Cooper River Bridge run. That was on the anniversary. I think the 40th anniversary. We did that, but now I'm just a walker, and I'm like, why did I ever jog? This is so much better. I just like to stroll, and that's a lot of fun. One of the places I've been liking to stroll is down near Water Street, and there's a lot of famous people there. I've been trying to bump into Robbie Rosen. Do you know him?
I do not.
He's a lawyer, but he's also an author.
Yes,
I think
I
his
do
family.
know who he is. I just don't know him.
Yeah, I've been trying to bump into him because his ex-girlfriend is Natalie Goldberg, and I don't think they were serious boyfriend and girlfriend. They were just like in college. They went out one time, and she wrote about him in The Great Spring, and she went to go visit him years later because she was down in Charleston giving a writing workshop, and they got to hang out, and she got to see his house on Water Street. She talked about it, and I've always tried to bump into him, but I guess he doesn't write, he doesn't run, and I guess he doesn't walk because I haven't seen him. And there's also someone else that lives on Water Street too, someone from a band, but I can't remember who it is. But I've heard that he's not as friendly, so I haven't worried about it.
There are definitely celebrities scattered around, and they come and go.
Have you ever bumped into a celebrity in Charleston?
Bill Murray used to live 5 doors down from me, so saw him all the time, and he and my son and his son would play catch and other baseball things, and certainly have seen other folks walking around and out and about.
A buddy of mine who lives in West Ashley bumped into Woody Harrelson. And then he and Woody Harrelson started talking, and Woody Harrelson was playing a preacher in a movie called Suncoast that's only on Hulu. And he said that he needed a really old Bible. So my buddy Paul said, I've got my grandfather's Bible. His grandfather was a preacher, and it was a very old Bible. So he got it to Woody Harrelson, like through the people in charge of the set. I don't know what you would call it, assistant director or whatever. And now the Bible is in the next to last scene of the movie Suncoast. And Paul Leslie is a very popular podcaster out of Charleston. He used to be in Atlanta. He was on Margaritaville Radio for a long time, had the pleasure of that. And now he runs he just runs an internet podcast that's very popular. He's interviewed everybody, all of Bill Murray's brothers, in fact. But he hasn't gotten Bill Murray yet. Speaking of Bill Murray, did you know that the other star of Groundhog Day now lives in Charleston? Andie MacDowell.
Yeah, I actually saw something about that. She also used to live up in Asheville, I believe, and would come down here a lot. So, yeah,
she's a native South Carolinian.
Yes. Yeah, Charleston certainly attracts a lot of people, and obviously with the filming of various shows, Righteous Gemstones and Outer Banks and things like that here, you get a lot of those folks as well.
Yeah, Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Darius Rucker, yep, sure.
I just saw that Charleston lost its either 13th or 16th annual top spot or as best place to vacation. They lost it to Santa Fe. And I wonder if Santa Fe is going to take over, the vivaciousness that Charleston became. I wonder if they're going to kind of revive Santa Fe, because right now I visited Santa Fe 3 years ago, and the average age in Santa Fe, no shade on anybody listening, the average age was 64. And so there was a bit of unrest with the community. Like, we've got to get, new people here. Not that they didn't like the old people that were there. It's just that they didn't want the community to die out because it's kind of become an art hub. Have you gotten the pleasure of visiting Santa Fe?
I have not been. I've only flown over it, so I can't really speak to it.
Well, I would recommend it because it's got a small walkable downtown. Things close a little bit early, but there's some great walking around, like the Bandelier, I think that's what it's called. And you go up to this long house. You get to see that. But anyway, it's a lot different than Charleston, except for kind of the urban area and the art scene. Do you get to see much of the art scene in Charleston?
In passing, or depending on what's going on at one of the museums, we can take that in. And we certainly know some of the artists as well.
Do you have any favorite artists?
Yes, but I don't think I want to mention their names.
All right. But and not including yourself, because you're an artist too as far as photography and the Glimpses of Charleston. Where can people get Glimpses of Charleston?
It's certainly available all over the internet. Locally, Barnes & Noble carries it. Blue Bicycle Books, the Historic Charleston Foundation stores have generally carry it, and so it's fairly easy to come across. And certainly online, it's very easy to come across.
Speaking of Blue Bicycle, one of the people that worked there, Ben, now owns a bookstore in Columbia called All Good Books. Did you know that?
I did not.
Well, I'm just letting you know because you might be able to network. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I don't go to Columbia frequently. But the owner of Blue Bicycle Books is actually instrumental in the creation of Glimpses of Charleston. He's a friend, and as is his family. And when people were pushing me to do a book, I had a lunch with him. His name's Jonathan Sanchez, and I said, people want me to do this. He goes, well, if you can do a book that's this trim size and about this price point, it will sell forever. And the publisher who did publish it, Globe Pequot Press, on their own came up with a book that trim size and at that price point, and it's been selling consistently since 2019 now.
Oh, that's very good. Have you gotten to do a lot of podcasts and interviews like this because of the book?
When the book was first published, there was a fair bit of attention to it, but now we're, 7 years into it? Not so much recently, but it's always fun to see it in the store and know that people buy it, and I actually do get royalties on it, which is always, you get statements twice a year, and it's always sort of fun to see that people are still buying it.
That is nice. That's your influence. That's your impact on the world now. Did you ever think...
Hopefully not my only one.
Did you ever think, as a native New Yorker, that you would one day be influencing the way people see the South?
Absolutely not. Never would have occurred to me.
If someone had told you then, when you were in New York, if someone had told you, hey, one day you're going to be a Southern influencer, what would you have said?
I would not have believed them and thought they were a bit delusional.
What do you think about your change to becoming kind of an adopted Southerner?
And Charleston's obviously a wonderful place, and it's not a hard place to live. And so it hasn't been a particularly hard transition. We actually had a pied-à-terre here before we fully moved here, and so I spent a lot of time going back and forth to New York, even after we were married. And then once we had kids, really became a full-time resident, and it's lovely living here. And the nice thing about airplanes is you can go many other places as well and be citizen of the world, and Charleston is a great place to call home.
What's your favorite thing about Charleston?
I think it would be, well, it's the built environment. It's as well as the natural environment. It's beautiful in both instances. And when people say, "Hey, I'm coming to Charleston, what should I do?" I say, just start walking. And being one of the great things about living in downtown Charleston, when the weather is cooperative, I go and do my errands on foot. And when you're doing that, that's when you really see the beauty of it. And the amazing thing about Charleston, we joke about it, that most places of similar size or smaller or even larger might have one or two buildings that everybody knows. And here, there's a similar house, a similar whatever structure on every block, or multiple ones on every block. And so there's always something to see. And very early on, when I first started coming here, a friend of ours who is a real estate agent here, or a fairly well-known one, she said, "I am out in these, doing this for a living. I'm out in the community every day." And she said, "Not a week goes by where there isn't something new that I notice that I've never seen before." And you can walk down the street in one direction and see something, and you walk down the exact same street in the other direction, and you will see totally different things that are incredibly beautiful. And that's one of the great pleasures of taking your time to walk around the town, because you never know what you're going to see. And that's really where Glimpses came from, is that I would go, "Oh, wow, look at that," and I would take a picture. And even now, I've been doing Glimpses for, 13 years, over 13 years. I see things I've never seen before, and hopefully can capture them, with the camera as well. So a long-winded answer to your question is walking around is probably the best thing you can do. Eating's number two.
That does sound wonderful. But speaking of great pleasures, where's your favorite place to eat in Charleston?
Best breakfast in town is the Marina Variety Store. We've been going there for, long before I moved here. My son was there when he was 3 days old, and we loved that. It's great breakfast, and I think it's stood the test of time for a more formal dinner or lunch, slightly north of Broad.
All right, so that's your absolute favorite place to eat in Charleston.
The Marina's my favorite place. Snobs is my go-to place, but I certainly enjoy plenty of others as well.
Well, that sounds good. I know my buddy Paul, he likes the Glass Onion in West Ashley, and I've eaten there. Have you ever been there?
I have. It was my father's perhaps favorite place.
Yeah, it's very cozy, and they always have seating available. Hopefully this episode doesn't get too popular, because then it won't be as easily accessible. But if it does, that's okay. Everything changes. Well, David, it's been a pleasure talking with you. But before we go, I would like to turn over the podcast to you. This is something that Paul Leslie, whom I've mentioned so many times in this episode, this is what he does at the end of each of his episodes. He lets the guest take over to say whatever he wants to, knowing that it could be that someone 50 years in the future is going to hear this message, or someone in a town with only 50 people hears this message. So knowing that, David, what would you like to say, completely unencumbered, uninhibited, for the airwaves forever? The show is yours.
Well, keeping it on the subject of Charleston, I would say it's important for people to take a long short-term view of things, that I think if Charlestonians had only focused on the short term, the national preservation movement never would have started, or certainly would have started elsewhere. But the reason why people come to Charleston is because people cared about the future and not just worried about making a buck by selling a house and tearing it down and putting up something new. That caring for beauty, whether it is built beauty or natural beauty, is incredibly important for the future. And I would encourage people to step up and let their opinions be known if they believe something is wrong for the future. And Charleston has always been known for that, and or at least since the preservation movement started, has been. And preserving what we care for now for future generations really is important. And as Charleston shows now, economically, it is also a wise thing to do, and it's the reason why Charleston is such a popular place and was the #1 destination for tourists for 13 years running, because of the beauty of it. And beauty has value, and people should treasure that and think about it before they do something really stupid.
Amen to that, David. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, and I look forward to answering your questions on Glimpses.
I look forward to asking them. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.